Well, somebody said, one more. In 1938 also is a law that affected me in particular, or let's say it differently, that affected me also. Jewish men, and I'll say males, must take the name Israel. Jewish women, and that should really be females, must take the name Sarah as an additional name. It's, again, there's a rationale that makes that law come through. When I ask anybody, do you have a middle name? You like it? It just ruined my whole. No, but the British have put up this statue. It is in, I need to get the name of the station. I think it could be Victoria Station. It's in London. And this is where the trains terminated coming from Southampton. And this little statue shows 5 children and gives you an idea of what, me too, gives you an idea of what I might have looked like arriving in London. And here is where everything falls apart. You know, I come to the land of my salvation, and Uncle Lucius, my great uncle, is supposed to meet me at the reception center. Hundreds of children are arriving, being greeted by their relatives, and where the devil is Uncle Lucius? I'm standing, waiting. I've never met the man before. And when it was all finished, there was a kid from Prague, and I was the other one. We were left. Nobody did pick us up. Fortunately, we were due to go to a very nice place in the posh part of London, London Northwest, near Hampstead Heath, is where you really want to be. It's really very nice there. And it must have been a well-to-do Jewish family who gave their home to house 20 or so children, ages 6 to 14. And I mean, it was wonderful that I was there, and it was even better that a chauffeur drove us to the house. Probably the chauffeur that worked for this man. Then comes Uncle Ludwig in the afternoon. You know, he's an older guy, and he's got a paper sack, and he pulls candy bars, chocolate bars out. And then he says, he never said, oh, I'm so sorry I was late. Not a word. Out come the chocolate bars. And then postcards, and a fountain pen. In those days, you wrote with a fountain pen, so you could write to me if I was unhappy. And he gave me his address, postage stamps, and a £5 note to buy more chocolate bars. But never the words, I'm really sorry, I should have been there. What a life lesson this was to me. It's haunted me all of my life. If you tell a kid you're going to do something, do it.
No matter what.
The next thing that happened was, of course, I was homesick. I was the first one of my family in London, and I didn't know the language, I didn't know the kids, I knew nothing. I didn't know what my parents were. I became a bedwetter. I cried myself to sleep every night. And I decided one day that I would steal money from, of all things, a JMF collection box, a little tin in one small room. And I saw that some of the older people occasionally would slip the coin in, and I thought, I know how to get the coins back out again. If you Maybe I shouldn't. I can tell you. If you turn the can on the side and slip a piece of cardboard in and then shake it and then pull the cardboard out, coins are likely to be on the cardboard and can slide right out. Somebody stole me. And every Sunday, they would have a special event. There was our building backed up onto Hampstead Heath, one lovely part of London. And we would go in the heath and run around, and it was terrific. And then at the end of it, we'd come back and have a special breakfast. If you've ever had British kippered herrings, that's what we had. And they announced one dinner that because of the theft of money from that box, there will be no run this Sunday, unless a person who took the money confesses, and they appointed one of the kids, the oldest one, to be the kind of a leader. And I cried the first night out of, I don't know what, fear or misery, something. Anyway, the next morning I found the kid, I confessed, and he said, oh, we knew all the time that it was you. Life lesson number 2. Don't take what doesn't belong to you. So, I got something out of it. But I said that my mother, I came to England knowing not a single English word. I couldn't talk English. Except my mother, who was a practical one, equipped me with one sentence of 4 words. And go ahead, give it a try.
Where's the bathroom?
I'm sorry? Where's the bathroom? I wish I had a prize to give you. Yes, where's the bathroom? Because so many people say, oh, my name is... No. I said, that, they don't care. But she knew you gotta eat, sleep, and go to the bathroom. And eat and sleep, that's easy. They give you food, and if you really get tired, you go in the corner and lie down. So that leaves one more thing. Anyway, I learned English pretty fast. I learned to speak it without an accent. I probably came to this country with a British sounding English. And then the war starts. Now, the war began on the 1st of September 1939. In my crazy mind, I thought, well, the next day the Nazis will be here and that'll be the end of it. Maybe some of the British thought the same thing. But of course it didn't work that way. The British needed to get the kids out of the large cities because the Germans would bomb them and they'd be in the way and could get killed. So they sent us off to an entire school population was picked up out of London and put down in another community. And we went to a little place, oh my God, it was, I don't think it was like going back to 1700. The woman I lived with was a lovely person, but there was no light. There was a gas lamp. You had to have a meter, you had to put coins in and make gas go into a gas lamp. There was no running hot water. There was not a toilet. You had to go outside to an outhouse. The place wasn't heated. I came from Berlin, you know, all amenities. But anyway, okay. found out something else, that is more important, that if you live under these conditions, if you're living with somebody who cares for you. And Mrs. Williams was a wonderful, wonderful person. She took excellent care of me. I won't say she loved me, she didn't have to. She cared for me and respected me, and I was a happy person there. Only one thing, I'll mention it because I think it's important, and it's essentially the luck of the draw. There were two of us in that house, and we shared the attic room, and I think he had homosexual tendencies, and I didn't. And it was difficult for me because I was too young and I didn't quite know what to do. But by well, let me show you this picture first. So this is a picture of me in a large group. Now, did you find me in that kindergarten?
I did.
It was easy. There were only two boys.
I did.
This is much more difficult. This is a picture taken in Abbott's Langley. And so, go ahead. Go for it. My parents, being adult Germans, were interned by the British government. All adult Germans were interned because they were concerned there might be spies among that population. And over a period of time, they gradually let them get out. And so my mother got out in 1940. She arranged first to have me move to where my brother was, with the Quakers, and then eventually we came to London to live with her. And my father was also released, and by November of 1940, we left England on a small freighter, really 20,000 tons, I think is small, maybe in today's terms. And we made it across the Atlantic even though submarines were a constant fact. I want to skip quickly to something else and then open the floor to questions. First thing I want to do is show you this picture. This is my wife's cousin. This kid's father, Judy's uncle, was one of the people that were 927, I believe, who were on the St. Louis bound for Havana, and who thought that they would get in. When they got there, the Cuban government said that their documents were invalid and the ship had to turn around and go back. He went back, found his wife. She was to come on the next ship. They had a baby, and they were caught up in the Holocaust. They were taken to Westerbork, which is a transit camp in Holland, and then they were taken to Theresienstadt, or Terezin. And the last we know was, we think that this photograph is taken in Theresienstadt, because the Nazi government let the people in Theresienstadt do things that none of the other camps could do. And then they were taken to Auschwitz, and we know that little Hansi died immediately, and his parents right behind him. So I'll come back to the Hansi in a minute, because I want to say a few words about why am I even here?